Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods and the start of our studio finish. So as we promised in the last video, we were gonna get started here on the studio, or bedroom number 2 if you wanna call that. It is the bedroom with the secret vault door and everything in it, and we're turning it into Aaron's studio. So tonight we're getting started. We're gonna try and knock out one full wall, and I'm just gonna show you what we got going on and what we're gonna do. All right, so from the last video, kind of our update video, had a lot of suggestions on what we want to do because we want this room to be soundproof along with the master bedroom that's right above our head. So the first thing, everyone did agree to put up the drywall 5/8 up there on the ceiling and then put in more insulation. But somebody did say that probably is pointless because sound transmission happens through solid objects. So putting an extra layer up in there is probably kind of a waste just because the noise transmission is actually going to be going through the floor joists and going up through the floor. We'll get started on doing the ceiling later this week, but what I am going to do is use that sound caulking, the green glue soundproofing compound. We're going to go ahead and put that actually on the floor joists. So that way when we put our 5/8 drywall up in there, we're creating that barrier or of that gap, so that the drywall is kind of suspended down a little bit and you're creating that buffer zone so sound's not going up through these floor joists. It probably is not going to happen that much sound transmission going up through the cavity spaces, because the cavity spaces, of course, already have 5.5 inches of pink insulation foam up there, or fiberglass. And then we still have a couple layers that we need to do above our head, which is like a rubberized membrane or a foam membrane that we put down on the subfloor. And then we're gonna nail our hardwood floors to that. So basically there's 2 layers of buffing zone in between the subfloor and the hardwood floors, and then in between the floor joists and the drywall. And then we're gonna use the green compound again because we wanna go ahead and put our tongue and groove shiplap up on this ceiling also. So we'll have basically 3 layers of buffer zone, 2 caulkings and 1 under laminate on the hardwood floors. And I think that will really work out. And that way we can kind of save a little money, and we do not have to put more insulation up in the ceiling space, because I think that does make sense. You're not going to have sound transmission going through a cavity hollow space as much as you will going through where you actually have your floor joists that will carry that sound all the way up through to the master bedroom, or vice versa, down here, down into the studio. Now, we went ahead and bought all of our shiplap too in the last video. We went ahead and we got it all stained the other night, and hopefully this comes out on camera. But once again, we went with this really, really dark color, and we used the same stuff that we did on the outside of the porch, and that is this Varathane Premium 1 color coat, but it results 3 times faster. Just awesome, super easy, super easy to just go ahead and install. Takes the stain instantly, and the second you wipe it on and wipe it off, it's already taken it. And while we used ebony on the porch, which is basically black, this Kona is like 1 shade lighter. But again, hopefully that showed up on camera, that it is actually like a dark brown, because everywhere else when you're looking, it almost comes off as like black. Now, I got my first board already down on there. I used the laser level here on the ground so that I could get that nice and straight. The next board on there is just sitting on there. And then again, for sound transmission, I am using the green caulking on the back side of that board. So because this board comes in kind of 2 pieces with that groove in the center, I'm just running a bead on the bottom and a bead on the top. That helps it stick to the wall a little bit. And then people are probably gonna yell at me for this, but I did decide to use brad nails. But because we're using 2-inch long brad nails, we are able to hit each and every stud and have a little bit of that brad nail actually stick into the stud. But when we get up to the point where we actually have electricity running, I'm really going to be angling those brad nails like up and down so that we don't go through. But it shouldn't be a problem with a 2-inch brad nail because we have to go through 5/8 of wood, 1/2 inch of drywall on this wall over here. And then of course we're going into that middle of the stud, and I don't think a 2-inch brad nail is going to be able to get there. We should have maybe used a finishing nailer, but the brad nail, after I put that first one on and I'm trying to pull it off, it was not coming off. So we are hitting lumber. The compound's probably helping it kind of like suction cup stick to the drywall. And I really don't think the brad nails are gonna fail. And I love the brad nails because they are so damn small. I cannot see any of them standing over here, as opposed to if we were to use real nails or even step up into a thicker like finishing nailer. I think the brad nail will work, but only time will tell. And then before we get started here, the last thing, I am glad that we did do this 5/8 drywall on the ICF, which is completely pointless. We didn't need it. But I am glad I did that because this actually does help as a fire stop. So this being a bedroom, if this were to ever catch on fire, as the drywall goes up there and meets the upper LVL, it's saving the foam from not basically catching on fire. It's creating that fire stop. So as we bring the 5/8 drywall that we need to use on the ceiling also, because I wouldn't want to just do this room in this shiplap because this shiplap will just go up like that. It'll catch on fire like no other. So by having that 5/8 drywall up behind everything, you're creating that lip up in there to create like a fire stop so fire doesn't get behind the foam and get to the concrete and then go up and behind that LVL and then run up the wall up into the first floor. So we're creating that kind of L channel there to block that as a fire stop, which is probably going to be code anyway. So this actually was not a waste, and it actually probably was needed to do that. And again, to help with like fire prevention. And we want to finish this wall first, because this is going to be our studio wall. So we're probably gonna set up our computer and cameras and everything on that back wall over there, put a desk right there, and then as we sit there, that's gonna be the wall behind us as we're doing our other YouTube channel videos and vlogging, and Erin doing her sweet relief and everything else. So we want this guy back here finished first, so you guys are actually seeing something that looks done and complete, even though the rest of the room will not be done and complete. But again, let's set up and let's see if we can get this wall knocked out tonight. All right, everybody, moving along here. We've got about 4 feet up, or 1 full sheet of drywall, almost. It's a little bit thinner. But so far, so good. The glue, again, crazy how easy it comes out. I mean, usually caulking guns, you have to pull the trigger. The stuff comes almost out like water, and it is very sticky. I don't know if it'll ever harden. I don't think sound material like that is supposed to harden, because if it stays flexible or liquidy, it means that it's kind of like riding on the surface like that. That way sound is not transmitting. But super easy to use, very liquidy, but holy crap, if any of it gets on your fingers, it is very, very sticky. So if anyone's thinking the brad nails aren't enough, trust me, you got 2 layers of glue kind of going in throughout there. It's sticky. And again, with it being so liquidy, and again, if it stays wet for life, it's almost gonna act like a suction cup that's not gonna wanna pull off. So I'm confident that that will stay on there very, very well. But again, so far, 4 layers or 4 feet up. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. This room is gonna be extremely dark. I just think that we, like this picture right here, I think we're gonna have to put more lights than just this one here in the center. Or we're definitely not going to use that light up there, because it's like a recessed light up like that. We're going to use like what we did in the master closet, and something has to hang down where the light can go 360 and thrown out into like all the corners and everything where it's extremely dark. Or like in that picture again that I'm showing, we may do 4 lights above the bed. While this is a studio, one day this will be converted to a bed, and I just had the thought that the bed would go against this wall and you would be looking at that wall over there. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4 of the reset canned lights up over here, then that will definitely be throwing out more light in this bedroom, and we'll probably throw it on a dimmer switch one day. But yeah, let's keep knocking this out. Let's get up this wall, and again, let's see if we can't finish this up tonight. All right, everybody, getting close to finishing up here on the wall for tonight. Man, I hope the camera picks this up, because it looks so freaking good. And what I absolutely love about stained walls, any spots where you're a little light, like right in there, you can see a little bit of a light spot. You just get a little bit of stain, rub that in, then rub it back off, and it was like it was never there. Same thing goes for all of the brad nails. The brad nails are so tiny, I don't mind seeing them. But if any one of them chips the wood, or like right here in this spot, that one like chipped the wood a little bit too much, just take your stain, rub it in there, get it really, really wet, and then you can turn it over, dry it off, and that hole all but disappears. And then when we're standing back here and looking at it, I can't see anything at all. And if I do, any light pieces in there, again, just go up there, get a little bit of stain in there, and you're done. So for in the future, any one of these walls, if kids ever move in this house, you know, 100 years from now, they dent or nick that wall, etc., well, you leave a little bit of that stain sitting aside for the paint coat or whatever color it is, and then you just simply go up to it. And because this wood is not, it's not premier or premium, it's kind of like rough cut, it gives it a very rustic look. And then you can just go ahead and put some stain in the scratch or whatever that exposed it, or if it dented it, etc., and then it covers right in, blends in, and you never know that anything was wrong. It just looks absolutely phenomenal. All right, everybody, all done. Man, does that look good. If anybody is wondering, this is the 8-inch wide shiplap, which technically drops down to, I think it's like 7 1/4 or 7 1/8 wide. I got 12 footers. I didn't want to try and get like 14 or 16 footers and then cut them all off and have a bunch of waste. I did want to see a staggered pattern, even though you can almost barely even tell where the cracks are. And again, where there are some cracks, we did go ahead and put that black paint in there. So that way, all you see is black paint from behind. We barely fit up there. Ever so slightly were we losing the ability to put that last piece up in there, because I wasn't going to, because I was going to have to like rip cut that down. But once we put the drywall up and slide that up against there, and we put the tongue and groove on the ceiling, and we slide it up there, that will all disappear up there. And then I'm debating on if we're going to do more trimming, depending how that looks. Like this first piece over here, we'll have to like either use the tongue side, or I'm sorry, the groove side, and set it right up against there. But if it doesn't look good, we may have to do like crown molding or something and just get like a piece of like a 1x4 or 1x6, you know, something like this. And then that will like sit up there and we'll go all the way around the room just as a piece of crown molding. Also has the two pieces here merged together in this corner. We may have to do a piece here and a piece here to trim it out and close it out, again, just depending how it looks. And then for sure, we are gonna do the bottom trim there. So when the carpet guys come over and they do carpet in this room, we'll let them put down their nail strips and everything and let them put the carpet down. And then I will come back and put a piece of trim on that bottom. And we'll have to see what Aaron wants to do. It may have to be a piece of trim that's completely like 90 cornered. So that way if we end up putting it in the corner there, obviously it has to match. You can't use a piece down there where it like has a rolling like taper effect where it finishes off, or else the corners aren't gonna look right. So we don't have a lot of room in that corner, but that is what it is. When the door trim goes on there, we'll have to just have a little piece down at the bottom. And then if anyone is wondering, that green caulking that I got, I'll put a description down below where I got it on Amazon. It was a 6-pack. It's the extra large, I think 28 ounces. And they cost me almost $180. And we went through almost 4 of them just on that wall. So it goes quite fast because we're putting 2 beads, obviously, for each one of these boards. If these boards didn't have that center groove in there, I probably just could have put a zigzagging pattern all the way down and just gotten away with 1. But hopefully we have enough to do the ceiling since we're 16 inches on center here, and that will be a lot more sparing as we put it up on the ceiling. But I gotta get the drywall lift. I gotta get to bed. I am exhausted. This actually took a lot more time than I was anticipating. And it is very dry and hot down here, so I am dying. But I'll see you guys back in a few days with the drywall lift. We'll do the ceiling, and then we'll talk about carpet later down the road. But hopefully Aaron will get set up with a desk in here, and we can get the computer and everything finally out of the vault because it's just too cramped in there. And we can plug in over here and run an extension cord. And then we can set up for however that looks behind me that you guys are seeing right now. And Aaron does have the studio lights and everything, so it's not just gonna be this nasty little guy that looks pink right now. But again, I'll see you guys back in a few days when we finish this up.